Welcome to Democratic Television, a program of the Santa Clara County Democratic Party that brings insights, perspectives, and attitudes of our always thoughtful Democratic guests. Today we're joined by Betty Duong, a community organizer, an activist, an attorney, a staff person. She's pretty cool. Betty, thanks for being on Democratic Television.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So before we get into the myriad of activities that you're involved with, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What was your favorite subject in school?
Oh boy. I am very proud to say I'm East Side San Jose native, San Jose born and raised. Went to all the public schools. Went through the public school system there, and I grew up with my fam. Oh, so sorry. Okay, so I grew up in San Jose, native of East Side San Jose, very proud. My family immigrated as refugees from Vietnam to America in 1979,
okay.
and they settled in San Jose. Yeah.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
So do you have siblings, or is it just you?
Oh, I do. I have two very, very beautiful, intelligent, incredible sisters, younger sisters. Kathy and Shirley, and they're both also extremely active and involved in the community too.
Well, they have a big sister to look up to.
Oh, thank you.
I know what that's like. So you went to local schools. How about college? Where did that happen?
Well, I started off at De Anza Community College. Actually, I should backtrack a little bit. Didn't do too well in high school.
Oh, Betty.
Yeah, I know. Shocking. I just never found the right groove. I think a lot of my time growing up was really spent focused on other things. And high school just wasn't a priority for me. I'm sure a lot of young people could identify with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after high school, there were very few options, one of them being cosmetology school. I didn't do well in that. I think I tried to take a couple computer classes because that was a big thing then. I didn't do well in that either. And so the only option left was De Anza Community College because so many of my friends went there. Oh. And it turned out to probably be one of the best decisions of my life. Yeah.
So you went there, found classes you liked, had teachers that inspired you?
Yeah, so many. The Intercultural Studies Department, the Ethnic Studies Department. I think there was my first Asian American Studies class that really changed it for me. I think up to that point there was a lot of my experiences growing up, a lot of our shared family experiences just could only be summed up as chaos. Oh. I just couldn't understand why things happened the way they did, why our community, our Vietnamese American community, some members of the community were really poor, some were really wealthy, and there was always these constant challenges that I had a chance to experience firsthand because most of my time growing up was spent translating for my mom and dad. So you kind of had that front row seat to all these daily struggles and challenges, right? And I think that was probably the big reason why I was so distracted in school. Yeah. That I took my first Asian American Studies course, and for the first time, this type of shape and order was given to this experience that my sisters and I had growing up, and that just sparked something, opened my mind, and I just started reading a lot more, writing a lot more, speaking to professors about my experiences, and they actually validated. I felt validated. So my mentors, I call them my mentors, I wouldn't even call them my instructors or my professors at De Anza College, really inspired me. And for the first time I started getting A's in class, and got into student government. Oh. Yeah, I had a really incredible experience meeting really great people and being exposed to other women leaders, and women professors and people of color and positions that I was never accustomed to seeing before up until that time. Wow. And then transferred to UC Berkeley.
Oh, UC Berkeley?
Yeah.
Well, you must have gotten a few A's in there.
Got a few A's.
Yeah, maybe a few more than that. What was your major at UC Berkeley?
It was Asian American Studies and Ethnic Studies. Although I did get an accidental degree, associate's degree in economics.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a long ways from your early years in public schools and high school.
It was a bit of a long way, yeah.
But I know the story doesn't end there in terms of your academic background.
Oh, well, after I graduated from college, I worked for a little while and went to law school. Yeah, at UC Davis. Go Aggies. Yeah, go Bears, go Aggies.
What made you want to become an attorney?
It was honestly, it was always that what if, that someday, what if I was born, or my only if dream, right? The what if, the could haves, the should haves. You know, when I was younger, I think one of my experiences in translating was a lot of exchanges between police officers and my neighbors or other members of my family. And I just, you know, and you know, kind of in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and the experiences that you had when your parents weren't able to speak and you had to speak for them, and you felt that they deserved so much more than a third grader or a fourth grade English speaking, you know, fourth graders speaking English. They deserve so much more than that in terms of representation, translation, right? You look for signs of what power and empowerment looks like, you know, anything for that feeling. And so in my neighborhood, I grew up thinking that the gangsters were the ones that were the powerful ones. No one messed with them. They always looked cool. They always had something going on. And then when the cops come in, you realize that, okay, they're the ones with the power. They tell you where to stand, where to sit, when to speak. Even when you're translating for them, they tell you to stand there, stay there, and you don't move, right? Mm-hmm. And then one day I had to go to court. Not me, but I went to court with someone to help translate because her son was a defendant, and even though he received a translator as required by law, she sat in the audience as a concerned mother, not knowing what was going on.
Oh yeah.
And I saw the lawyers walk in, and the sheriffs were telling us, sit down, be quiet, put that phone away, you know, don't do this, don't do that. Do this, do that. And you see these lawyers, they walk in and they got to speak whenever they wanted to. Everyone was quiet for them. And I thought, wow, that's real power. That's really empowering. And I think the big luck of the draw was that particular day was a woman attorney that walked into the courtroom. And that was really, I mean, I didn't know what I understood at that time, but that was something that really affected me.
Wow.
But yeah, it became an only if dream, like only if I was born wealthy, or only if I was born under different circumstances, only if I was taller or just more confident, you know, and that seemed like something that was off limits to me. So I thought maybe, you know, we have a saying in Vietnamese, maybe next lifetime.
Oh, wow.
Right? And by the time I graduated college, I said, no, that dream is available to me. I can do that. I was able to get through college. I can read and write, and I know, by then I realized that I had the support, the family support, the community support to help drive me anywhere I needed to go if I was willing to put in that work, and they would put in that work with me.
I'm just trying to imagine what that must have been like for your folks to see you who had been there supporting them all this time, and suddenly your education got more and more powerful and opened up more and more doors. Your parents must be very proud of you.
I hope so. They don't say it much, but I think it's a Vietnamese tradition. We don't say that, things like I'm proud of you, but we say things like, are you hungry? And can I pack you more food? And do you need anything? So they were very supportive the whole way. I think my mom was more so of that's great that you're in college. How about going somewhere close to home? and my dad would have to ask his friends, or because he actually didn't even know what Berkeley was, or what the UC system was really about. And he asked his friends, and the feedback that he got from them, I think that's what really helped him get through this process of letting the first of his 3 daughters go. And then all of us eventually kind of went that path.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened? You came back to San Jose eventually and became an attorney.
I did, yeah. I came back from law school, took the bar exam twice. So I'm very proud to say that you know, challenges happen, and I don't give up no matter how far I've come. It's not the end of the world. You try one more time, maybe 2 or 3. But I took the bar exam, and on the second try, I passed. It was a very special day for us, and yeah, after that, I sought out my community leaders and mentors who have advised me for so many years, and told them the type of attorney I wanted to be. And I had a very broad definition, right? I wanted to be an attorney that helped people. And everyone's response was, all attorneys help people. So what is exactly that you want to do? So I actually kind of dabbled a little bit in different types of law. I started off with criminal defense, had an incredible internship with the Santa Clara County Public Defender's Office. Now that is an office filled with people who are true believers in the justice system and making sure that it's available to everyone. And so I did that, and then I found a real calling in employment labor law. Yeah, it's very gratifying. I'm very selfish to say, but it's just making sure that workers like my parents, right, low-wage workers, manual labor workers, workers with limited English or with limited means, being able to advocate on their behalfs, because it's not about the money at the end of the day, it's their dignity, that they put in that hard work, and what's fair is fair. So I got to take on cases to the Labor Commission and court to get their wages, their due wages that they earned themselves. So I had the very great privilege and honor to work with the Legal Aid Society Employment Law Center and the Catherine George Alexander Community Law Center, right in our very own San Jose.
Yeah,
providing
great work.
Providing pro bono legal services in matters of employment and labor law to low income or no income workers.
So that wasn't that's not where the story ends. You now have moved on. You're doing other kinds of things, but your work is informed by that legal background. Yes,
I have, I'm just so lucky to get to wake up and do exactly what I've always wanted to do every single day. I'm a staff person with the Office of Supervisor Cindy Chavez. She's a Santa Clara County District 2 supervisor, and District 2 is where I grew up. It encompasses East Side San Jose, downtown San Jose. So this is my neighborhood, this is my home. Our constituents are not constituents, they're my neighbors and friends. And I get to work on their behalf. I staff the supervisor on all things related to social services. So anything that has to do with families, with children, with seniors, and the well-being of the family unit, that's what I get to work on, and connecting people with those resources, and working with the supervisor on driving forward new policy or policy changes that will improve the system for our very diverse communities.
And how long have you been doing that?
I just had my 1-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that's an exciting office to work for. A lot of great initiatives have come out dealing with very cutting-edge issues and a lot of very sad issues.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, some of the really exciting projects that we have going on, which are just, I just still can't believe I get to be on these projects. I get a little mushy about it. We're working on developing a Vietnamese American Community Service Center blueprint model. We don't have a service center now in Santa Clara County. San Jose is the second largest Vietnamese American population outside of Vietnam. San Jose, the city of San Jose itself, is the largest city population of Vietnamese outside of Vietnam.
Wow.
So so it's a very special community, and it's a community that really raised me.
Great.
And to be able to work on this is a great gift to them. But it's due. It's a service center that would have all the different county services and resources together. But we're working on the stakeholder process to design.
Well, we'll talk about that. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, lots more to share.
Great, thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Raul Perales, and I've been a lifelong resident here in San Jose, as well as served our city as a San Jose police officer for the last 8 years. I've also been a substitute teacher in our county serving youth in our juvenile justice system. I got involved in our Democratic Party through the Silicon Valley Young Democrats, and I'm excited to be the first elected Young Democrat to the District 3 Council in San Jose. And if you want to get more involved in your community, take a look at the Santa Clara County Democratic Party or one of your affiliate Democratic parties and get involved and get engaged. Thank you.
Welcome back to Democratic Television. We're speaking with Betty Duong about her numerous activities, including the Vietnamese Service Center?
Vietnamese American Service Center.
Service Center, yeah. So what is that going to look like? How are you going to get a sense of what's going to be good for the community?
Well, that's not our call to make, right? I mean, when it's for the people, it should be made by the people, designed by the community. So we are in the process of a very involved stakeholder series and input series where the design of this future service center, of the location, what type of services will be available there, the paint, the art on the walls, all of that will be designed.
Now, what do you mean? What services are available? What could that look like?
Well, that could look like the social services that the county provides, or if the community comes back and says there's a need for a community space for us to be able to carry our own activities or put out our own programming, that's something that we need to honor, because there's been a lot of people in our communities that have been doing this work for a long time on their very own with little to no funding. So we want to be able to be partners with them on that.
And without a base.
And without a base,
Living rooms and garages.
Yeah.
And space.
That's where the best work gets done, right? Backyard parties.
That's true. So when do you think that process will complete itself? You're in the midst of this now.
We're in the midst of launching the stakeholder process. So it's going to start, we're hoping for it to start by November, December, to be able to hold these town halls, community forums, different discussion groups, work nights, so that's open invitation to members of the Vietnamese American community, being Vietnamese American themselves, being our future clients, our current clients of the county, or folks who have worked with the Vietnamese American community for a long time, to come on by and be able to help us and tell us what this place should look like.
Well, great. We will give out your contact info at the end of the show, but it sounds like you'd like people to contact you.
I would love people to contact me. Anyone who's interested in being a part of this, or if they're just interested in being kept up to date on it, we're compiling a very lengthy, the longer the better, email listserv, so that we could provide regular updates and announcements so people know how to be involved and in which ways. Yeah.
Great. I know another issue that you've been involved with is the whole question of wage theft and the fact that there are unscrupulous employers. Shock.
Yes, so I worked on wage theft first as an attorney with the Catherine George Alexander Law Center taking these cases, and now I have the honor of working with on the county side. We're working on a Santa Clara County anti-wage theft ordinance, and that's in partnership with, again, the Catherine George Alexander Community Law Center and working partnership. And it's largely informed by community activists who have been on this project, on this type of issue for years. So we're very lucky to be in collaboration with them in designing an ordinance that will enhance the protection of workers.
Well, it must be a situation where people feel powerless and unable to do anything without some kind of protections, where employers rip people off without regard to the financial and social impact.
Right. I mean, it's if left untouched, if the county doesn't step in to enhance the protections, the way things are right now is that without the help of an attorney, and sometimes that can get very costly. I mean, there's very few pro bono legal aid programs that would provide full representation outside the Legal Aid Society Employment Law Center and the Catherine George Alexander Community Law Center. And there's only so much capacity, right?
Yeah.
We do the best that we can with the resources and the volunteers that we have. And the staff attorneys work day and night. But I mean, we need partners with our government, within the county organization itself, to say, hey, business owners, this is not tolerated. You can't keep doing this, changing the business name. They'll change the business name so that, we're not the evil employers. I don't know where those guys are now.
Right.
They'll transfer title to someone in their family, or to just put it to someone else, and they're like, no, that's not me. That happens. People just ignoring orders. That happens because once the order is issued, the worker, especially if they're a low-wage worker, especially if they have limited English proficiency, especially if they have limited means and resources, they don't have the resources to be able to follow up with that wage order or that court order that says, you're supposed to pay me now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know you're involved in a big program, a really cool program called The Hub that deals with foster youth. Oh, yes. Please explain that. That sounds great.
Oh, The Hub is amazing. So The Hub was created, and I want to give a shout out to my Hub folks, my Hub staff out there. It was founded by foster youth themselves. It was a team of foster youth that got together and had this great idea about creating a space just for foster youth, right? They live that life, they understand the struggles, and they and they've taken their experiences with the sole purpose of translating that into how we can assist other foster youth similarly situated as us to get all of us ready for adulthood. So they created this center called The Hub, and it's designed to be a one-stop shop.
So it's a physical place.
It's a physical location. It's located on 1st Street and King Road. I'm sorry, yeah, Las Plumas and King Road right now. And I could give anyone who's interested more information about the center. But it's literally a youth center. It's a youth center that has support services, yoga classes, right? Education courses, health education courses, workshops and classes on issues that are important to them that they may be lacking the support system elsewhere to provide that. I mean, I grew up with a mom and a dad that always made sure I ate, made sure that I had everything I ever needed, right? Even though they didn't have much and they couldn't speak the language. But I had that, and I recognized that privilege. And here you see foster youth who don't have that same level of support, creating that for themselves and for one another. So the Hub is a youth center. They've combined a lot of the county resources into one location, but it's in a safe space, right? It has a computer lab. They have activity nights, game nights, open mic nights, poetry nights, art nights. I mean, it feeds the soul. It's services that helps nourishes you in every single way. So it's a center that I'm very proud of, and I'm very honored to be working with the young people there.
So how do they handle the whole question of emancipation when a foster youth becomes 18 and suddenly they're on their own, and the whole question of employment opportunities and making it as a, quote, adult, even though they're barely?
Yeah, well, we do have AB 12 now that allows foster youth to receive services even though they are no longer a minor. So long as they are either employed full-time or attending school full-time, or a combination of those two amounting to full-time, they can continue receiving foster support services until the age of 24. So thank goodness for that.
Good.
But in addition to that, a lot of the work that happens at the Hub is also how to write a resume, how to get interview ready, how to look for a job, how to fill out a credit application, how to open up a bank account, how to rent an apartment, how to balance your checkbook. A lot of things that you and I might take for granted. And they're learning. There's concerted efforts and workshops to learn. There's the employment connection programs. We've got great employment counselors who are working with young people on a one-on-one basis to get them job ready and help connect them to jobs. There's also independent living programs that gets them all those things I just listed, things that would be necessary for independent living. And I mean, this also goes back to another one of our initiatives in our office, is that we're working on developing a youth summer jobs initiative where the goal is to secure in our first summer to secure 500 summer jobs.
Wow.
Paid internships or actual employment opportunities. We're asking employers to commit pledge positions, or if they can't do it, then pledge funds to subsidize a youth employment. And the priority registration will be with foster youth, disconnected youth, at-risk youth, and that's what we're working on.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Are you doing other foster youth related?
Well, on the flip side of that is that I also get to work with the foster parents. There's this great organization called the Kinship Adoptive Foster Parent Association. Right? It's a support group, a resource center for foster parents, for new foster parents, those interested in becoming foster parents, ongoing foster parents. So what they do is that they provide a lot. They connect them to even more resources. They have free pro bono free workshops for foster parents.
Is that because there's always a growing need, a continuing need for foster parents to step up, for people to consider that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a need for foster parents. We need more foster parents signed up to be in the system. We also need more emergency response foster parents, which are, in my book, saints, right? Living saints. These are emergency response families are the ones who have signed on to receive a child at any time of day or night.
Oh.
Just give me a call. I'm there. Or my door's always open.
And that's taking a youth or a kid out of a bad situation, or maybe a violent situation.
Potentially, it's either a situation of neglect, abuse, endangerment, and where the state or the county has the evidence and the clear indication that the child needs to be removed out of the home, maybe not permanently, maybe, but definitely for the time being, for the well-being of everyone, and there's families who are ready to take them. So the Foster Parent Association does an incredible job in making sure they have resources, supplies, baby formula. If you're a family that's never had a baby in the household, and tonight's call was for a newborn baby, making sure they have that training. Working with the Department of Family and Children Services to provide additional supplemental training on how to care for a child, how to talk to teenagers, right? Sometimes the child you receive is a full-grown teenager going through their teenage problems or teenage issues, not problems, you know, growing pains, right?
Yeah.
So how to cope with that, how to help them cope with that, how to make that transition.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and if folks ever want, I mean, both the Hub and the Kinship Adoptive Foster Parent Association is always ready to receive donations. Gift cards to Target or Walgreens, so they can give to a young person or to a parent to be able to pick up supplies for their foster child, or baby formula, diapers,
Anything
baby furniture, you know, baby clothes.
Well, let me ask you a question. If someone wants to get hold of you, you've mentioned a number of things you're involved with. We have about a minute. Do you have a phone number, an email address?
Yes, I'll give them, yeah, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to connect with you, to connect with your viewers and connect with anyone who would be interested. So my email is betty.duong, so betty.duong at bos.sccgov.org.
Okay.
Okay, and my phone number is 408-299-5026.
Wow. Well, thank you, Betty. You're doing a lot of great stuff. Keep up the good work, and we'll check in with you.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks for watching Democratic Television. Give us a call at 408-445-9500 or visit our website, sccdp.org. Help make a difference, and we'll see you on the campaign trail.